Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight and welcome our online audience as well. Pastor Tom's unable to be with us tonight. We'll be talking about some of the news updates that we have around the world, and then we'll be backing out of that and going into our DVD series that we're working with on Jonathan Cahn's book. I'd like to open with prayer. Heavenly Father, we are so thankful to be where we are. We are so thankful, Lord, for all the blessings you're bestowing upon us, including the beautiful weather and the rain. And we just ask, Lord, tonight there's storms coming through that they will moderate and not be damaging to people. Lord, we are so thankful that we are still living in a free country where we can voice our opinion, and we are free from the physical persecution that our brethren are having around the rest of the world, especially those in Africa. They are so stressed and so persecuted, both mentally and physically, Lord, and our prayers are with them. We ask, Lord, that you keep a protective hedge around them. Lord, watch us tonight and guide our words and guide our study. Of course, we've got a ship on the way over there to put a port in. Interesting thing is this, they're wanting to put a port in. There's actually a port already there 4 miles down the beach from where they're going to put this one in. What's the rationale on that? I have no idea. But it's all a gimmick by the Biden administration to make themselves look good.
So who's it going to be manned by? The Gazans?
It's a good question. That's a good question. Nobody's answered that question yet. That question's been asked. The question's been asked, well, are we going to have boots on the ground? And the answer, oh no, we're not going to have boots on the ground. And then the other question is, well, what are you doing to keep the goods from going to Hamas? And the other thing is, I saw an interview of some of the Gazans. They were saying, quit sending this crap over here to us. They sent, I forget how many, I think it was like 64,000 ready-to-eat meals. People won't eat it. And they said, send us flour. We want to make bread. And the point Sherry makes is well taken in that the United States has had their hand in so much of the setting up the conflicts that we have today. Obviously Ukraine's prime example. That was set up totally by Obama. Yeah, it's just setting the stage for civil unrest, and it's going to be part of it. I believe. I don't have any doubt that's coming. It'll be part of the scenario as this country unwinds. Here's the thing to watch for now, because the handwriting's on the wall. You're going to see a large influx of Haitians in the United States as immigrants. And here's the thing. This point is totally 100% accurate. And it's not just here, it's in other parts of the world. Migration is being used as a weapon, totally, and especially here in the States. It's really funny, not funny, but it's ironic, I guess, that Israel started attacking Syrian army this week. They're on the north side. They are attacking because Hezbollah and the Syrian army are working hand in hand, which they always have, I think. But Israel's actually attacking Syrian army units. It's supposed to be a big meeting going on between Turkey and Iran. So when you see things like that, that's what your antenna should go up a little bit, because that's Ezekiel 38-39 stuff, the Ezekiel war. And because both Iran and Turkey will be involved in that. The big thing that you're seeing in Gaza, and it's probably a little bit of both, but you're seeing a concentrated effort by the UN, the United States, and the rest of the Western world, demonizing Israel because they say they're starving the Gazans to death. Well, if you look at the data that I've seen, Amar Safarti does a good job of providing solid information, and Israel does. Here's two good examples. One, the poster child right now, if you haven't seen it, is this poor little white-skinned boy. He's laying in bed, he's just skin and bones, and the headline is, Israelis starve another child. The boy is diseased. They verified I forget what disease he has, but it's a wasting away. The other thing was a picture they were using early in the week of starving kids was taken in Somalia in 2014.
Just more deception.
Yeah, it's the point I was going to make sure it's all fake news. And so, but they're doing that and they're driving that because they're driving the humanitarian thing real hard. Of course, we've got a ship on the way over there to put a port in. Interesting thing is this, they're wanting to put a port in. We've got Marines on the ground in Haiti trying to evacuate people. You know, I talked about earlier, well, actually 4 or 5 months ago, that Haiti was on target to really have major problems, and they have. It's all come to fruition what we talked about back, I think this was back like Thanksgiving. Here's what's going to happen. This is going to sneak up on us, and then bang, just like the guy going bankrupt. You get a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then bam, the whole dike breaks. That's exactly what's going on with this artificial intelligence thing. And it's in print. You can read it. I get a daily news feed off of a newspaper called The Globe, I think it is. It's a Chinese newspaper run by the government. It's a PRC news thing. Over a year ago, there was articles in there of Xi Jinping telling these people, you need to prepare for war. The United States is going to make us go to war. And they're blaming it all on the United States. But they've been telling their people to prepare for war. Xi Jinping, over the last year, has replaced almost all of his top military commanders. The reason he did that's because now they're all replaced by his people. Before then, they weren't all his people. He's got his people in place now. And everything they're doing is preparatory to go to war if they have to. So, I mean, it shouldn't be any surprise. Here at home, like I taught, one thing I made a comment about, illegals are being used as a weapon. There's no doubt about that. And it's all the cities, especially the big cities, have come to great understanding they don't have money to take care of these people. And the Fed's not providing the money other than the cards they give out to them. And that, you know, once you get to that point to where you can do that on a regular basis, and I'm not saying every day I wake up and I don't think about what ifs, okay? I read this news and stuff, and I do. You know, the thoughts occur. But I don't react to it. I don't get mad, I don't get upset. And it's just, as Pastor and I have talked for years now, it's you kind of put it in the position that it's a chess game. God's playing chess. And it's interesting to try to figure out maybe what his next move is. So that's the interesting part. But you've got to get to the point to where stuff's just got to roll off your back.
Well, I think the Lord wants us to keep focused on him.
Yeah.
Because when we stay focused on him, that's where we find our peace. Because for one thing, we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when we get into that living into tomorrow and everything, that's the reason why he tells us to worry about nothing, pray about everything.
Yeah.
Is that in each day, you know, we see the provision and the promises that God has given to us.
Europe, in the European Union, they just passed a law trying to control getting the companies to control the advancement of this stuff. Well, that's a joke. We're trying to do the same thing here in Congress right now. They're trying to pass a law where they can have some pressure on the companies developing this stuff to maintain control of it. It's not going to happen.
I was just about to bring up AI to you when you brought it up because Trump has a social platform called Truth Social, and he had posted on Truth Social yesterday, the Hur report was revealed today, a disaster for Biden, a two-tiered standard of justice. Artificial intelligence was used by them against me in their videos of me.
Yeah.
Can't do that, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, you know,
Coming.
it's here. increase in this stuff. You're going to see a rapid increase in public relation to the illegal immigration, but it's too little, too late. And same thing with this AI stuff. You're going to see people, getting all upset and sideways about that. Doesn't matter, folks. Too little, too late. We started talking about this stuff almost 2 years ago, and we're 2 years into this now. And the ChatGPT, when that came out, that was kind of a big deal. That's history. That is ancient history now. Those type programs are. Things are so much more sophisticated. And we're seeing this stuff on a daily basis.
It's the same thing with the border now. It's too little,
Too little, too late. Yeah, damage is done. Yeah. So just expect that. That's the way things happen. It's no different than when this country became electrified. You just had these small places, and the next thing you know, it's everywhere. Drive through Fayette County and look at all the orange pipelines that are laying in the ground. They're running fiber cable through this whole county, and they're doing it quickly. And that created a big bunch of heartburn around the world. But yeah, the Pope was calling for Ukraine to sit down and negotiate. The other thing that was interesting, there hasn't been any verification on it yet. The other day, I think last week, I think it was on Thursday when we was here, we talked about that Russia had taken out some Abrams tanks and some Patriot missile systems.
That in each day, we see the provision and the promises that God has given to us. Doesn't mean that, we don't necessarily, from time to time get caught up, because we still are in these fleshly bodies that fear will try
Right.
to set in. But when we take the reassurance of what he says in his words, that he'll never leave us or forsake us, we have to stay focused on him.
We got to stay focused on he's not going to leave us or forsake us. Absolutely right, Sherry. Any questions on? That's going to be part of the interesting times that we're into. And like I said, just be prepared for the rapidity of these things that they're going to happen. It's going to happen, machine gun action. It's going to go once it starts breaking loose, and I think we're seeing signs of it. I think the focal point will be this election. It may be the firecracker, but when things do break, there's things. It's really interesting. I think it was Nasrallah, who's one of the heads over in the Mideast on the Muslim side. He was talking about Biden, and he said Biden's not afraid of anything except losing the election this fall. And this is the anti-Semitic protests and threats and stuff in Chicago is really getting out of hand. What's really, really ironic now, I just read just this afternoon, they were supposed to meet today, White House was. What came out, the Muslim groups refused to meet with the White House. They didn't want to meet with the White House, Biden people. And the reason being, they're trying to pressure Biden to force Israel into a ceasefire. Now, you look at the other thing that's happened, I think yesterday or this morning, Chuck Schumer, head of the Democratic, he's the speaker, or he's the head of the Senate, he come out and he unloaded on Netanyahu and Israel. He's calling for new elections in Israel. Now stop and think about that. We got a U.S. senator meddling in the election and trying to get him to force an election on Netanyahu. At the same time, there has been some polls made in Israel of the everyday Israeli. Yeah, India has surpassed China as the most populated country in the world. The other thing that's happening in China right now, we've talked about China has some economic problems. Here's a prime example. There's a article I read on how the extracurricular activities in China have nosedived, meaning that things kids do when they get out of school, play ball, go to the gym, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Music lessons, dancing lessons, all this type stuff is nosedived. Probably one, two reasons, or maybe both. One is the economy is falling so flat, people don't have the money to spend on it. And the other thing is, it's probably an indication of how the Chinese government is prepping for war. They're getting everything they're doing, everything is, and we talked about this a year ago. Xi Jinping come out and started telling these people, and it's in print. You can read it. I get a daily news feed off of a newspaper called The Globe, I think it is. It's a Chinese newspaper run by the government. It's a PRC news thing. Over a year ago, there was articles in there of Xi Jinping telling these people, you need to prepare for war. So anyhow, it's Hezbollah and the Ramadan, which started Sunday at sundown. The terrorists are calling for an increased jihad during this time. And so far, it's starting to pick up. The interesting thing that I picked up this week was there's so many of the terrorist leaders, the Muslim leaders in the Mideast, especially Iranian, Lebanese, and Syria, things of those natures, the imams they have over there are calling for jihadists to arise here in the States and start, and they're asking that the terrorists that are here in the country, which we know there's quite a few, they're trying to spur them to make terrorist attacks here in the States, especially during Ramadan. They're asking that the terrorists that are here in the country, which we know there's quite a few, they're trying to spur them to make terrorist attacks here in the States, especially during Ramadan. So it could be an interesting period here in the next few weeks, which we assumed was going to happen. At the same time, we see the United States backing further and further away from Israel. Biden, and well, it's two things, because I added a note to this just before I came in. We were talking about, I think a week or so ago, how they're on John Kerry comes back from the climate summits and stuff, and they're saying, yeah, we got to get rid of these animals, and you need to put pressure on the companies. And you see Letitia James up in New York filing suit against the largest beef manufacturer in the world, JBS. Most of the conflict, most of the damage that's happening in Russia, and has been some damage. They damaged a large oil refinery, set it on fire. There's been some other damage done. And what it is, this is small pro-Ukrainian, anti-Russian groups that's along the border between Ukraine and Russia. Some of the disputed area even. So it's been more of like guerrilla type warfare rather than their army. Their army is not getting much done, and Russia is smacking them pretty hard. Israel's striking Lebanon. They struck a base in Lebanon this week, 100 kilometers, which is 60 miles inside Lebanon. That's why you see the UN, you see China, you see Iranians. All of our enemies have been shipping people to South America, Central America, to get them to migrate in the United States, because over time, if you flood it enough, it's going to break the bank. It probably already has. And we just haven't seen the results of it totally yet. You're talking about China. So, if you get feeling a little down about some of this stuff, just pull Joshua 1:9 up. And, it's easy for us to get caught up in this stuff. We worry about family, we worry about each other, and we worry about neighbors and what's going to happen if this happens. There's really no reason to be worrying about this stuff. Anything? Sue?
There are some Christian groups out there that are a little bit farther to the right who, getting their guns and ammo stocked up.
Yeah.
So they can protect their homestead.
Yeah.
Wife and kids, and yeah.
And what Sue brings up, that there's a lot of people on the far right that are stocking up so they can, protect their homes. And I don't have a problem with that. And so you've got this dichotomy here where the Western world and especially the United States, is trying to force a regime change in Israel, all because they want a ceasefire in Gaza. And the Israelis know that if they back off of what they're doing in Gaza, if they don't go into Rafah and take the rest of Hamas out, it's been a wasted effort. That's about one, you're looking at just almost one a second for 2 minutes. And I think 60 some of them fell in uninhabited areas. It's a small area. The whole area right there we're talking about would fit inside the Midwest. So when we say they're flying further into the airspace into Lebanon to make strikes, 60 miles, 100 kilometers, pretty good distance.